In this beginner's guide, I'll show you how to start from scratch and build up an amazing economy, strong military, dominate the demons, and unlock your first achievements in Darfall. In fact, it'll be so easy, even Grandma would understand. I've included a Notion checklist for you to follow along with for free, and I highly recommend it. Link is in the description. Timestamps are also included if you need to revisit this guide later. A huge thanks to Paradox Arc for sponsoring this video, and let's get started. On the main menu screen, pick Survival. Pick the map Edge Scar, pick the mage as our hero, and I recommend the medium difficulty to pick up an achievement, but feel free to play on easy if you prefer. So first thing you do when you come in is press spacebar to pause the game. It does start unpaused. We've got plenty of wood around. There's one outcrop of stone, which we'll need both of, and then of course we'll build our own food with farms. So the priority in the early game is going to be wood. That's the most intensive resource that you'll need. Second is going to be food. We'll build farms. And then third and final one is going to be stone. And we'll be doing it in that order. So first, let's put 2 woodcutter camps down. Now, your map is going to be different. Every map is generated randomly, so you don't know what yours is going to look like. Generally, just find a spot that's got, 10 to 15 trees and plop it down. I like to do 2 in the same area because it's easier to defend them at nighttime. So I'm just going to put 2 down. We need to add workers to them, though. You can see how this one is kind of grayed out and this one is not. So we added workers to this. As soon as these guys come off the line, they'll start working here. Now we need to start creating workers. I'm going to hold shift. So click on your keep, hold shift, and click on your worker. That's going to queue up 10 at a time. If you want to do 1 at a time, you just do a regular click. If you hold shift, it does 10 at a time. We'll do probably 10 workers to begin with, and then we'll scale it up from there. Now we only have the ability to make 2 workers at the start, so we do need to build a house. So over here on the housing tab, all the way on the left is a house. I'm just going to build mine right next to the woodcutter camps. And actually, we're going to build 2. We'll build a second house somewhere nearby. I generally like to keep the space around my keep open because I want to put some farms there. So these are a 3x3. So just try and clear a 3x3 space around your keep so that you can get your farms. You also might get lucky if you have some rich soil around. You can see here by building it right here, we'd get a 27% bonus to the speed. There's another one right here that'd give us a 12% bonus to speed. So I could delete these and remove them, but it's really not that big of a deal, especially on this map. I would just build the farms right next to the keep so that they have a fast resource return. Before we unpause, we're going to select our hero and we're going to go to the edge of the map and we're just going to explore the edge and we're looking for a couple different things. Let's go ahead and unpause here. So we're building workers. All of our starting buildings are going, and we're going to take control of our hero for a little bit. Now we're looking for resources that we can collect. You can see right here these bones we could pick up. Don't pick up bones, at least not yet. Not really worth it. We're mostly looking for food, stone, and wood. So I'm just going to go around the outside. We're also looking for animals that we can kill. So this animal is by itself. It's a pretty easy kill. And by doing that, we're going to get 2 things. We're going to get food. Well, actually, you get a couple, you get more than that, but the 2 things that we're interested in. So you can see here, we picked up items that they dropped. We got bones, meat, and hide. The only thing we're really concerned about right now is meat and orbs. So we had 90 before, we just killed it, and we got 4 orbs from that. Any unit you produce requires orbs. So you can see here, we need food and mana orbs to build more of our workers. So we need to go around and find as many animals and resources that we can pick up. So here's a little pile of woods. You'll see like sticks strewn about. So let's go pick that up. It's a really good way in the early game to supplement your workers. So right now our workers are pumping out and they're going to start chopping wood, but they're pretty slow actually. So you need a lot of workers to get a decent resource harvest, which is why we want to use our hero to supplement in the early game. Here we go. This guy's actually pretty tough, even though if you hover your mouse over it, you see how he has a number pop up over his head. That'll tell you what level they are. So this is a level 1 unit. He does 26 damage and his attack speed and then his HP and all that. If this was a level 2 or a level 3, these stats would be boosted. Even so, these guys are pretty tough, so we'll probably have to back after we kill him. We should be able to win this fight without dying though, but you do have to watch your HP. Don't worry about taking damage. We'll go back to our keep, drop off resources, and heal up. But try not to cut it too close. Sometimes I get greedy, and I take a fight that's a little bit too close and end up dying. It's not worth it. Every time you die, your character's down for like 30 seconds and you lose some XP. You don't really want to do that. So there we go. We just dropped off all the items that we had. Once we go near one of our resource drop-off locations, so either a keep or a storage, if we were to build like a storage drop-off location or something like that, you will drop off all your items. Now you notice we have this iron blade. We can't use it because it's only usable by the Slayer, Engineer, or Paladin. So what we're going to do is deconstruct it. So we'll salvage, and that gives us 5 iron. Not that we're going to use it, but we have it just in case. So here we go. We are back at our keep. We're going to heal up to full health. We have enough workers to get 2 more farmers. So why don't we just put these guys down? So we have enough wood for the first farm. Let's put that down. This guy that rolls off is going to work here. And then we have to wait for more workers to get resources before we build another one. One other thing, this isn't really relevant right now, but there are some builds where you can have your character stay at your home base the whole time without going out at all. He does provide a work speed increase bonus. You can see right here, they're plus 50% because our hero's nearby. So we'll come down here so that anybody working on wood is going to get that bonus while we're healing up. It's, like I said, kind of irrelevant for this, but there are builds where you do a heavy boost to your industry with your hero. So let's go back out. We want to continue to hunt for wood, stone, animals, food, all that stuff. There's an animal right there. Let's actually take that out. There we go. Picked up some more food. Now, the reason we want to pick up food in the early game is you'll notice these guys are very food intensive. They cost 20 food each. We start with only 100 food, which means we can build 5 workers, but we want to get 8 to 10 workers in the first day. So we need to actually go out and find it ourselves. Again, we are producing farms. That's going to help, but these are very slow to produce. So we need to boost that industry by getting our own. Now, here's some berries. These are some free food resources. So we'll go ahead and pick that up. This should give us between 10 and 12, 13. There we go. I think it's between 10 and 20, actually. All right, there's this guy is tough. It's a level 3. So I wouldn't normally recommend going after something like this until you have a level or 2 on your character, but we are near a healing fountain, so we should be able to survive a bit longer. I don't know if this is enough, though. We may have to retreat. Let's see what happens. Yeah, the healing fountain does make a pretty big difference, but you can see he is chunking us down. If we didn't have the fountain, we'd be dead already. We got a little lucky here with this one, but we'll take some mana orbs and some HP from this guy. Yeah, even then we almost died still. All right, there's another creature up here. This is a level 5, so we're not even going to go near that. That's way too much. Also, we could stand here and heal. It's not really worth our time, though. Let's go heal back at the main base after we drop off our food. You can see we're out of food already, and we have quite a bit of it on us to pick up. So we'll pick up that piece of wood, see if there's any easy... There's some berries there, but if I go to salvage that, we're probably going to get attacked by these guys and killed. So let's not do that. Let's just head straight back to base. And we have 6 people produced. Only 1 farm. We need a second farm to get that other worker working. You can see here he's idle. And up here, if you ever have any idle workers, try and keep an eye on this. If you see a number pop up in here, find something for them to do. So in this case, we want to build a farm. We couldn't do it earlier because we were waiting for the wood to come back in. But now that that's done, we should be fine. Now the next step here is to build more housing so that we can expand our worker population even more. Another woodcutter base next. And then after that, we'll eventually get a quarry so we can get some stone. But you can see we start off with a decent amount of stone and we don't use that much of it. We mostly use wood in the very early game. So that's going to be your biggest bottleneck. Wood and then food for sure. So we just turned in a lot of food. That'll build us a few more workers. All right, while we're healing, again, let's get down here and make sure that our hero is providing the 50% bonus. Let's head back out. We're healed up and we need to keep an eye out for our wood. So we only need 20. Let's go ahead and build another house. Again, make sure you don't build in these spots where you're going to put these farms. You can also put it directly adjacent. This brings up a good point about buildings. So certain buildings can be built next to each other and others cannot. So these resource collection ones and houses, these can go directly adjacent to farms. But if you look at the houses, you can't build houses directly next to each other. So resource collection, like this woodcutter, can go directly next to any building and go all over there. But if I wanted to build, say, like a carpenter, I can't put it. It has to be one space between. So some buildings can be directly adjacent. Some of them need one space between. Generally, resource collection are the ones that you can put directly next to each other, and then anything else you cannot. So like I said, this farm can go directly next to it. All right, so anyways, housing. Let's build another house. We'll probably put it right here. There's nothing that we can build that'll fit in here other than maybe like a farm, which we already have room for farms. We can't put, there's some other important buildings we'll need soon, like a carpenter, but it won't fit here because it's too big. So this is a perfect spot for a house and keep our base nice and compact and on the same side so that we can easily defend it at night. If you have to spread it out on different sides, it's not that big of a deal, but it does, you do lose some efficiency because you're going to have to run back and forth to defend. Something to keep in mind, but I would really not worry about it too much. Once this house is done, we'll continue to build more workers, but we need a job for them to do. We need 4 more wood, and we'll put another woodcutter camp down. Now this one, I don't know if we can win this fight. These rats are actually really tough. So we may need to abandon this. We'll keep a very close eye on it. Yeah, see, he's already starting to win, so I don't think that's a good one. We'll back up. Maybe we'll get some cheeky shots while he's running back. Oh, and I accidentally clicked on the tree. I didn't want to do that. We'll give him one last hit. So as soon as they go back here, they're going to start healing up. So that was not a good fight to take. The level 2 rat, avoid. But, you know, sometimes you just don't know. You got to try it. All right, here we go. Our woodcutter is ready. Now, you would normally think, well, let's spread it out because once these guys chop through the woods, you're going to have to relocate it. It's not a big deal, especially in the early game for a 4-day, or, you know, we only have to survive 4 nights. There's no way we can get through all this wood anyways. But maybe if you're doing a longer run, the 8 or the 12 night one, you will probably chop through your wood eventually. But in this case, we'll just keep everything nice and compact. Let's get back out there, hopefully one more time. We're halfway to nighttime, which means we got to pick up the pace a little bit. So let's pick up this food. Here we go, level 1 rat. We can do that. Yeah, these guys are nasty, man. Oh, this is a werewolf, actually, not the rat. But these guys are nasty, too. Because he's level 1, we can handle it, though. And as soon as you level up, you instantly recover all of your health and your energy. Obviously, we don't have any energy expenditure because we can't cast any spells yet. But every time you level up, you get 1 point in ability and 1 point for your perks. There's no perk that costs only 1, so you have to wait till level 2 to put something here. But you can see the ones that are glowing are the ones that only cost 1 point. These other ones cost 2 points. So the freeze and this. Don't worry about all the spells. We're only really focusing on one for now, which is going to be the heal. So this plus sign. Go ahead and click on this, and then click on the button down here to actually take the point into heal. So now we have an ability. If we want to take some tougher fights, we can. Here we go. There's some stone outcrops. Now, this is too much of a fight. We don't want to take that, but we will pick up the stone. So anytime you see, you can tell if it's something you can harvest by, if you click on your hero, it'll turn into a hand icon. You'll see rocks, like this rock is just a rock. You can't actually collect it. This one, as soon as you see the hand, you know you can collect it. Here we go. Let's also pick up the wood. And we'll keep moving down here. There's some more stone down here we can take. All right, we can build another house. And again, we are housed right now. That's the only thing limiting our expansion. So let's get another one. And then the next building we need is a stone collection. So let's get this. Put 2 workers on there. So the next 2 that come out will be for stone. And that's pretty much the early game build. We're not going to build anything more than that. We want to save some of our orbs so that we can build units and start taking some big fights. Here we go. So there's a bear. Normally we wouldn't be able to take that on. Actually, let's take the deer first. Normally we wouldn't take a level 3 bear, but we have a heal and we have our spell now at level 2. It opens up a lot more options. So let's bait him in. As you can see, we're healing. And if we need to heal more, I'm going to pause it here. You can click this and then click. So this is your abilities are stored right here. So you can either click your heal and then click it on the ground to cast it. Or what I recommend is using the hotkey, so Q. And you can see it's got a cooldown. As soon as it's done, we can cast it again. We'll save it though. I don't think we need it just yet. But yeah, press Q. It'll pop the same thing up and then you just click it to cast. So there we go. Let's grab some more food. The biggest bottleneck here is going to be orbs. We cannot collect orbs at night because it's really, well, you can. You can go out and fight these guys at night if you want, but it's pretty dangerous. Let's take out the deer. We'll get some more food and a little bit more orbs. Also, orbs are generally spent in sets of 10. So right now we're at 17. We need 3 more if we want to have a useful set. And they gave us only 2, unfortunately. So we're still short. We need to kill at least 1 more thing tonight, or during the daytime before we get attacked at night. Here we go. There's a deer right here. And that puts us at 23. Perfect. And do we have workers? We do have workers on our stone, so that's good. The next thing we will want to worry about, and you could just focus the rest of the day clearing out, animals and stuff in the area, or if you feel confident and you're not overwhelmed by everything, you can start working on building the support building. So we need some carpenter so we can build wood planks. We need a stonemason to build stone bricks. These are used to build more advanced buildings. We need that to build our first barracks. And if you hover your mouse over the barracks, you can see we need 6 planks and 10 stone bricks. So we'll start with the carpenter. And again, don't build it in the place where you're going to have your farms. In my personal opinion, in the early game especially, just build it near your resources. We're loading up on this side. The only reason we have the stone cutter over here is because that's where the stone is. It has to go there, but everything else can be built over here. So I'm going to put the carpenter here. We'll probably put the stone cutter here once we get enough stone to build that. We need 45 stone, so it's going to be a while. So let's get back out there. Level 1 werewolf we can handle, especially with the heal that we have. So we'll cast that. All right, now with the heal, we can probably take on the rat. There we go. And this is only a level 1 rat, so I feel a little bit better, but we're getting kind of low. So if you're ever not sure, just go back and heal. But I think we can handle this. All right, there we go. Let's go back. Also, you can speed the game up. There's 2 ways to do it. You can either click this button up here, or you can press tab. It's the hotkey to do it. So here we go. We turned in all our resources. We turned in a bunch of stone, a little bit of wood. That allows us to build our stonemason. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, you can't build these directly adjacent to each other. You have to have a 1 tile distance. So I'm going to put it probably right here. We'll keep our housing over here. These industries over here. Right now, planks, they cost 10 wood for 1 plank. And we need, if you look in here, we need 6 planks and 10 stone bricks. So let's start with 6. And then once this is done, we'll queue up 10 stone bricks. Let's heal up. I don't think we have a little bit of time. We can probably go out and get a couple more, but I don't think it's worth it at this point. We have a decent amount of food saved up, and we have 33 orbs. We can build 3 units with that. So what we'll probably do is just help with resource collection. You can see right here, we are still giving our bonus aura to everybody. So they're getting all the 50% increased work speed. But we could help in another way as well. And we didn't do this in the early game because you gather resources faster by killing units if they're close by and then dropping them back off. But you can directly harvest resources with your hero as well. So right now, the main bottleneck is probably going to be stone because we do need to collect a certain amount to be able to build these bricks. So let's queue up 10. So again, I'm going to hold shift, click there, that'll queue up 10. Now these cost 6 stone for every 1 brick. So to get 10, we need 60. We're at about 27 right now. So we need, 30 more? Roughly 33 more. So I'm going to just click the hero, click on the stone, and you can see this progress bar. As soon as it hits the max, you will get a chunk of stone. If you cancel it before you finish, it'll actually cancel all the progress. This is something that I do all the time when I'm trying to time it perfectly. So just make sure it goes all the way down, and then you'll see 10 show up. And then to get that into your inventory, you have to walk back and drop it off at the keep. Every time you harvest resources, it does use up some of your energy. You can see here it used up 40. So we'll harvest another, and then let's go drop that off. There we go. And that should be enough to get our barracks. And then once we're ready to build, we'll probably need some more wood. So let's go help the woodcutters. Actually, we could do it from up here. Let's just go collect wood while we're waiting. So we're just going to cycle back between collecting resources, coming back to the keep to refill our energy faster, collecting resources, and back and forth. In the very near future, we're going to get attacked, so we'll have to bounce back between defending our base, collecting resources, and collecting energy. There you go. So you'll see this pop up. The undead are rising, and that means they've already spawned, and they're already working their way towards your base. Here we go. You can see him coming out of the shadows. So we're just going to attack him. Now, there's 2 ways to attack. Well, 3 ways. You could just move to an area where you're close enough to attack. You can directly click on them, right click. Or my favorite method is to press A, which is an attack move. So you press A and attack, and any enemy that they encounter in their range, they will automatically attack. So this is useful if you don't want to micromanage your hero the whole time. You can just, so for example, when somebody attacks over here, I'm just going to attack move so that as soon as he's in range, he'll start attacking him. Now, obviously, we just did that, so we'll do it again when somebody else comes in. But that's probably the most effective way to do it. The only time you're not going to do that is usually if you need to micromanage and target somebody specifically. Oh, we got a worker here stuck. That's not good. Yeah, that's killing our efficiency by a decent amount. So that's one thing that can happen here. If you pack your buildings a little bit too tightly, they can have pathing issues. Yeah, this guy, I don't know what he's doing, but I think he knows what he's doing either. Right, anyways, we'll just keep collecting wood. We'll help him out. We did gain another level. So to get the next level of heal, it's going to be this one right here. And you can see we need 2 skill points to unlock this. Or you can unlock one of your damage spells. I would recommend just max out your heal first. Keep it simple. The heal is one of the best spells that he has. And it's going to be used a lot when we build our military, which we're going to do in just a few seconds. So I would probably leave that. In terms of perks, there's a couple different routes you can go. For this early one, I would recommend saving up 3 points. And then we're going to go right here, Warrior's Wisdom. This is going to give us increased XP from combat. We're about to go on a war campaign here very soon, and we're going to get a ton of combat XP. So doing this will help you level up faster. So let's keep going until we get attacked. There we go. So you can see we're getting attacked down here. I'm just going to grab my guy. Make sure, if you're pretty close to finishing a resource collection, just let him attack, finish it, and then give the move command. There we go. And then we'll go back to collecting wood. Here we go. We have a barracks ready to go. Now I'm going to build it over here, 3 tiles away at least, so that we can get our farms in. And speaking of farms, we have quite a bit of food here. We could place some more if you want. 260 wood is a tremendous amount of wood. We probably have a little bit too much. The problem is we don't have a whole lot of orbs to spend and expand just yet. Anyways, we'll be doing that during the daytime. So we just need to get through the night. One thing that we could do here, we need to save a little bit of wood to build our spears, but we could also start working on defenses. So you can see these ballista. This is a tower that shoots, and also the tower. The tower requires a lot of stone brick, and stone is a very hard to come by resource relative to wood. Wood is very plentiful. So in this case, we'll probably go with the ballista. We need 15 planks and 4 stone bricks. So why don't we queue up enough to get our first tower going? So 4 stone bricks. We'll go shift click to get to 10, and then another 5 clicks to get to 15. That'll use up a lot of our wood, but we still have some left over. And here we go. Again, I'm going to let the resource finish, and then we're going to attack move to defend. Now, our barracks is done. We can build 2 different kinds of units. We got lucky and picked up an item off the floor that allows us to build a cleric. You probably won't have this in yours. We got lucky on this one. So I'm going to just stick to it as if you were doing it with no luck. So no lucky drops. When you kill units, they can drop items, and you can see right here, this guy requires a robe. So at some point, we killed something that had a robe on him. Spears, they only require mana orbs, wood, and food. We have all 3 of those and plenty of supply. Let's queue up 5 of them. So as soon as they're ready to go, we can only build 3 right now because obviously we have, we only have 30 something orbs. There we go. We're just going to go back and forth, defend our base until daytime. Now you'll notice these buildings, we have a couple buildings that got attacked. This one's at 440 out of 500, 650 out of 750. If you hover your mouse down here in the bottom right, we have 3 buildings that took damage. It's going to cost us 7 wood to repair all of them. You don't have to have units go do it. It happens automatically as soon as you click this. You just need to make sure there's no enemies nearby. If there's an enemy near, it will actually cancel. So let's go ahead and repair the 3 buildings that got damaged, and then we're good to go. Let's get our hero over there and collecting wood. All right, we're getting attacked again down here. Now there's 2 schools of thought here. You could have your hero collecting wood the whole time and just use your unit to defend. And every kill that they do get some XP and unit rank. So if you want to max out the XP that your hero gets, make sure your hero's the one getting all the damage in. If you use your unit, the unit will actually level up as well. They have 2 ranks that they can go, and every time they level up, they get better stats. So it's not a bad idea to have your unit do it, and you can collect resources manually with your hero. So just something to keep in mind. I'm just going to do it with the hero because he's nearby, but we'll probably let the unit get the kills next so that our hero can go collect resources. And we have plenty of wood. Yeah, we have plenty of wood, so let's actually switch over to collecting stone with our hero. You can see here they're both going to work. As they get low on HP, it's not a big deal. Just send them back to the keep, and they'll repair back to full. And we got 3 more buildings damaged. We'll repair that. Now we're going to build our last unit here. We only have 6 mana orbs left, so we can't build anymore. The units that attack you at night do not drop orbs. They give you XP, and sometimes they'll give you items, but they do not drop orbs. Only the daytime ones that are out on the map are the ones that will drop orbs. There are other ways to get orbs. There's a building in here on your first tab. The altar, you can burn bones to summon mana orbs. I don't find this necessary most of the time, and I really don't find it useful most of the time as well. So I would probably skip that and just be patient, just wait. There's other things you can do in the meantime. We're almost to the point where we can build our first tower, and we have 3 units we can easily defend. So we'll just keep collecting some stone for now. Now, one thing I do recommend is creating some control groups. A couple ways you can do it. You can do one control group with everybody. You can do separate control groups. So like, for example, if I wanted to do my main hero as number 1, everybody is number 2, and my melee only is number 3. So if you ever get an emergency and your hero needs to cast and you need to micromanage him separately from your units, it's good to have your hero on a separate hotkey. It's also good to have everybody together so you can move them around more efficiently. And then typically what I'll do is I'll have a separate control group based on the unit type. You could even go more granular and have like everybody on their own control group so you can micromanage them. It's a little bit too much for me, but it is definitely the efficient way to do it. But this way we can get some control anyway. So by doing this, number 2 is our control group for the whole group. You can see we can issue commands and they'll automatically put them in a formation. If you want to have them face a specific direction, you're going to hold right click and then rotate your mouse around, and whatever direction they're facing is where they'll end up being. So there we go. And again, if we want to only use our melee troops, we can separate them, and then 1 is for the main hero. So let's send these guys out to go defend. Yeah, like I said, we'll just keep collecting resources. It's the most resource efficient way of doing this, but either way it would be fine. So let's just skip through the night. All right, the final attack is done. You'll notice with this sundial up here, this is obviously daytime. This really dark part is the obvious nighttime. There's also like where it's dark, there's 2 shades of dark. This first shade is it's getting dark, but no units spawn yet. This second shade is when they start spawning. And then same thing over here. This one, it's starting to get bright, but units won't spawn. So you can actually leave your base at this point. So let's go back, we'll get full mana, and then we'll go back out with our actual army. So there we go. That is day 1, including the nighttime. That's the first full day. Let's go ahead and start the next section. So phase 3 is going to be day, night, number 2 and beyond. So we're starting phase 3. First thing we are going to do is build some defense. You will get attacked during the day once in a while. On this map, not as much, especially not on day 2. But it's always a good habit to build your defenses while you're sending your army out, because the worst thing in the world is when you get attacked by a single unit and you have nothing to defend, and you have to send your whole army back from the edge of the map to go defend it. So let's go ahead and build some ballista. We already spent some time over the night building planks and stone bricks. If you didn't have the resources to do this yet, now would be a good time. Just queue them up, and as soon as they're ready, you can build this. But essentially what we're going to do is build a ballista. We want to build it on the edge of where we are, preferably away so that so you can see that they have a decent range. But if you build it at the interior of your base, they really don't have very good range. They'll likely, like, you can get attacked by an archer that'll outrange your buildings, and then your tower is pretty much useless. So I generally like to put them out on the outskirts. So we'll put them right here. Also, make sure you don't put it on top of a tree, because that's going to consume that tree and you will lose all those resources. We're also going to build 4 walls. So I'm going to put one right here. And then when we go to build the palisades, you want to do like a plus shape around it. And that completely blocks it off. You don't have to do all 4 corners like this, all 8. You only need 4 to wall them in. And then whoever's attacking has to go through the walls first to get to your tower. Now notice I put this here so that we're going in between the trees. We're not chewing up any trees. We have a really good defensive position for our planks, or sorry, for our ballista right here. And it protects the most important part of our base, which is where our workers are. So we'll do that. Now we need to continue to build up resources here to get 4 ballista, but we also want to make sure we have enough wood and mana orbs and food to create our spearmen. So we do have to be careful of that. We'll probably end up running out of food here if we don't build more farms. So that's one thing we could do. Let's build another house and 2 farms. Make sure you put the workers on, and we'll queue up 2 more workers here. As soon as the workers are done, they'll go out to the farms. And like I said, that should hold off our food for probably the rest of the game, but we might build more in the future. So this should be good for now. We need to focus most of our attention on our army. So we'll send them out. The ideal situation here is you have a quest that you need to do. Send your army up to the quest to clear that out. Now, we don't have enough orbs to build these last 2 spearmen, but we do have wood and food. So as soon as we get orbs from fighting, these guys will continue to produce. We just need to make sure you remember to send them out to your army so that they can join up. We can probably handle it, all these attacks with just 3 spearmen, but the problem is it's a little bit slow. The more people you have, the faster it's going to go. So here we go. Our mission is right here. We got to do that. But let's clear this out first. So we're just going to go in and attack whatever is here so we can do the control move attack. Keep an eye on your lowest HP character. There we go. We cleared that out. We need to clear whatever the heck this thing is. And it dropped a lot of orbs. You can see we just got 21 orbs. And we spent 10 of them immediately to start a spearman. So let's go ahead and send our spearman up here. Now, also, you'll notice these guys are taking damage right now. So undead corruption, when you see the ground turn black, that is undead corruption. Your units will take damage if they stand on it. I guess it's 2 damage every 3 seconds. Yeah, 2 damage every 3 seconds. So don't stand on it for too long. Obviously, you have to go on it to fight and clear buildings and stuff, but try not to stand on it for too long. Let's clear these tombstones because they do drop stone, and we will need stone. So it's just free, basically. There we go. So we'll take that. Now, this thing, we have to stand near it for 60 seconds for it to clear, and it will spawn demons every few seconds. I think it's every like 5 or 10 seconds that'll spawn a demon. Okay, also, we attracted this guy. So let's put a heal down. Stay back in the heal, and then we'll jump on him all together. There we go. Yeah, every 9 seconds to spawn the demon, so let's go ahead and take him out. We did level up, and we got another item right here. So let's go ahead and equip some items. So as soon as you get an item that you can equip, so you can see there's 6 slots here. There's equipment for jewelry, helmet, a weapon, body armor, and shoes or feet slot. And then there's also one for a backpack. This is kind of a rare item to pick up. You probably won't get one, but if you get lucky, you will pick one of these up. So if we equip that, it does increase our storage, our inventory space by quite a bit. And then you can see here we have boots. This is going to increase our health by 22. So looking at our stats over here, we have 364 out of 372. It increases our max HP, but it doesn't actually, you have to heal to get, I guess, the HP for that. There. So we're just going to stand here for 60 seconds and we'll clear out these guys. All right, so let's see, that's one more spearman. We need one more and then we'll be done. And then what we'll do is once you build your 5th spearman, we will start to go back to collecting more resources for towers because that's going to be the next priority. As soon as this thing is 60 seconds, it just disappears and we could pick up whatever items are dropped. Now this one, because it's a quest, it does give us some special items. These skill books, books of knowledge, they give you +1 perk for every book that you read. So pick them up, right click them, and you can see we just gained 2 perk points. And down here, we have enough to put our first level into Warrior Wisdom. We need 2 more to get the next level. So we're in really good shape here. We can also get the 2nd level of our heal. So click on this middle one and you can see learn first 2 skill points. We'll take that. Now the final level of heal requires 3 skill points. So it's going to be a while before we get it, but it's a very, very good spell. And because we just picked this up, we're going to get there even faster. And then in 2 more levels, we can take the 2nd level of this and it'll go even faster then. So now that our new guy is here, I'm going to make sure that we update our groups. So again, group 1 is for our main hero. Group 2 is for everybody. So let's select everybody, update that. And then group 3 is just the soldiers. So you can individually click on them. You can drag and click. You can individually click and hold. Yeah, holding shift down, you can click all of them. The easiest way, in my opinion, to get all of the same unit type is just to double click them, and anything that's on screen, you'll select them all. So do that. Update your group, control group number 3, and then you're good to go. So let's go ahead and continue our conquest. We don't have any other quests to do right now other than destroying the portals, which is not going to happen. That's really hard to do. I don't recommend trying it until you have really, really good units. So let's just keep going around, killing everything we can come across. And there we go. Our last unit is joining the fight. So let's attack move up there to kill that. Let's move this spearman. We'll update all our units at that point. But you can see right here, if we try to build another unit, it's blocked because we don't have capacity. So your workers have their own cap and your military has its own cap. It's separate. The workers cap is determined by how many houses you have. Your military cap is determined by how many barracks you have. Every barracks you build produces 5 on the cap. So by building 4 barracks, you'll raise that up to 20. 20 is the max military units you can build. 50 is the cap for housing. So we're not going to cap on either of those two. You don't need it, not for the 4-day. It's not that important. It's probably more important to learn how to do some other things like building a proper base. For the first 4 days, you really don't need to spend too much time building defenses, but it's a really good habit to get into, so that's why I included it in this guide. So we want to continue to build our ballista, and you could do the same thing we were doing before, which is come in here and manually click this up, or you can have it set a minimum limit to automate. So by clicking on this, click on your planks, and then you see these plus signs. Again, I'm going to hold shift, that'll go to 10, and then 5 more non-shift clicks, you get it up to 15. So this means they will produce planks up to 15 and then stop. This is really nice to have because if you're like me, I'm not very good at micromanaging. And when I'm out on campaign here trying to kill everything on the map, I'm not going to remember to come back here and click up planks. So if you do this, it'll just, every time you build a tower, you'll go back down to 0 and you'll automatically convert your wood into planks. Same thing with stone. We'll do the same thing here. These ballista only require 4 stone bricks, so we'll click that up to 4. And actually, I would probably recommend going a little higher on stone just because we're going to have a lot of stone and we don't need it for too many buildings. So just do a little bit more, but maybe like 6, just so you have a little bit of breathing room. So there we go. We'll convert all this material over to here. We could also expand our civilian population, the workers. We do have some orbs to build and we have a little bit of food left over. So why don't we do that? I think would be a good idea. I built another house, another woodcutter lodge, queued up 2 more workers, and then we have them coming to this woodcutter base as soon as it's done. All right, we are done here. Let's go ahead and reform our groups. So everybody control group 2, put troops only, control group 3, and we're updated again. So let's keep going. Now at this point, I probably wouldn't even stop to pick up resources anymore. It's not worth it. We want to spend as much time clearing these. Oh yeah, see, so this is not a good fight for us to take, so we're actually going to back away from this. So you'll see some big camps once in a while. This one has a named character. This guy is very, very strong. If we had level 3 heal, we probably could take him, but as it stands, we'll end up losing some units if we try and fight him, and then we'll have to go back and heal, and it's just kind of a waste of time. So instead, we're going to back out and go this way, and we'll go fight something else. Right, we just got a dark pylon spawned. This is going to show up as a quest. Oh, I guess it doesn't show up as a quest, but it spawned right here. You can see on the mini-map. We'll just go destroy it next. Let's take this archer out first. Earlier, we ran across that one circle that was healing us. There's also these purple ones, and it does the same thing, but for your energy. So you'll see right here, it's starting to fill up our energy meter, so it'll recharge. This actually would be a really good spot to fight these guys. Let's try and get our next level, and then we'll come back and fight them. It might not be a good idea, but we'll do it anyways. We'll see if we can make it happen. While we're recharging, since we have nothing better to do, let's pick up this wood. I'm gonna fight these guys over here, and then we'll come back and maybe fight them because we are very close to reaching level 5, and that'll give us the point we need to get our next level of heal. So if you're fighting a big group like this, I don't recommend going in. Draw them out instead. So fall back. Somebody's going to bait. If they don't bait, attack them with your range unit, your main hero, and then pull all of your soldiers back, and you can fight them out here. Now, this guy is by himself, so typically these guys will aggro together. So if you attack somebody that's part of the same group, they'll all start running out. Nobody's running out for this guy. Nobody cares about him. So he's by himself. Now, we did get some better equipment here. We're going to go ahead and upgrade some of our gear. We got a jewelry slot. We're going to get more HP and attack speed. That'll help a little bit. This one gives us attack damage, energy, and health. Let's keep fighting. Also, before we fight, actually, Oh yeah, we don't have our heal. We need 2 levels for that. That's right. Okay, my bad, my bad. So 2 reasons we don't want to go in there. Number 1 is that's a lot of people to attack all at once. Number 2 is we're going to be taking damage from the corruption. So let's just attack maybe the archer. Oh yeah, that pulls the whole thing out. So we want to fight them at their maximum so that some of them are going to retreat. And we're not going to be taking damage from all of them all at once. There we go. And then the strategy here, in my opinion, is to attack the weakest person first with as many people as you can. And then you go one by one. Because if you attack each of them separately, they are all doing full damage, even if they have, 5 health left. So as soon as you kill one of them, the amount of damage output that you take, the amount of damage that you receive goes down, step by step. So in the shortest path to getting there is to kill one at a time. So just dogpile them. All right, we're just going to keep attacking these guys. There we go. We shouldn't have a problem here now. So we'll go dogpile the archers. Let's get our main hero in there as well so he can get the heal. And then that's it. And then once you kill all those, you do have to go in and clear out this. Let's grab everything and we'll just continue our rampage here. Now you notice as soon as somebody gets low health, pause the game and pull them out, or if you're really fast, just pull them out. In this case, this guy was starting to get ganged up on by a lot of people. So I'm pulling him back. I'm actually going to pull everybody back. I don't want to lose him, so I'm going to drop a heal and we'll turn to defend right here. Probably need to micromanage him a little bit, so we'll just manually control him. We need to keep him in the heal. He's still getting ganged up on by these archers. That's a problem. Let's actually just back up all the way. I really don't want to lose a unit right now. We can have these guys start ganging up on these other ones as they retreat. So let's do that. There we go. So we'll get a kill on this one. And because they're still attached to the group, they're going to aggro and come all the way back here. So now you can see it's much more manageable. There's 2 dead, 3 dead. And we still have our heals. Let's get up there, take the archers out, get our spearmen back to full health. Again, just got to micromanage them a little bit. I'm going to finish clearing all the animals from this area, and then we'll probably go back. We are starting to get full on items. And for you, you'll probably be full even faster because most likely you won't have a backpack. What I recommend doing in this case is dropping all these items. If there's stuff that you want to pick up, drop the items that you're not using. You could take them back to your base and deconstruct them. The amount of resources you get from deconstructing is very small. So in general, if you need the space to pick up raw resources, just dump these things. You can just put them on the ground. Like I said, you'll end up getting like 1 or 2 ore, or maybe like three wood from each item. It's just generally not worth it. So let's head back to base. Nice, we got some body armor. Now we're just missing a helmet, and we'll have all 6 slots. All right, now, as I mentioned before, I was accurate. I'm very bad at micromanaging this stuff. So we have enough planks and stone to build another tower. I just didn't realize it. So let's build another one. We're going to put it up here where our stone cutters are. We'll help defend them. So put it right here so it doesn't cut down any trees. And then we'll automatically start converting planks and stone bricks to build the next one. And we just dropped off a ton of supplies, so we should be good for a while. We got a lot of food in there. We have a lot of orbs. Like I mentioned before, orbs are generally not a problem once you get past the second day. It's just that first day where it's a bit of a problem, but you got to kill as many animals as you can in that first day. So here we go. With all these resources, we could continue to expand either our military. We could start working on upgrading the units. There's a lot of different directions you can go. My personal opinion is probably expand the military first. We need more planks to be able to build these towers. So what I'm going to do is build a second carpenter so that they can convert wood even faster. So let's work on that. It's not necessary, but we have an excess of wood, so that should help with that. We also have a decent amount of stone. We could start building stone walls. I don't really recommend stone walls. It's not necessary in the first one. Once you get to maybe the 8 night or the 12 night, it's necessary because stone walls last a lot longer. But like I said, for this playthrough, it's not really necessary. Let's just come back, heal up, and then we'll go out again. Now, one thing I didn't mention about fighting on the map, the further out you go, the higher level units you will fight. So if you're struggling with combat, try to go in a circle closer to your base rather than going out as far to the edge of the map as you can. So for example, right now we went pretty far up here. But if you're struggling with combat, just do a small circle around the outside of your base and then come back in. So you'll fight much lower level units by doing that. Nice. We did find a helmet off of a unit there. So let's equip that. We'll go fight some of these. It is starting to get close to nighttime. So like I said, once you hit this part where it starts to get dark, you will need to head back. It's really hard to fight nighttime because you can't see anything. Your units take a pretty big debuff to all their stats. So it's usually better to go back to your base and help defend. So let's keep fighting here. All right, now this is a pretty tough fight here. I don't know if this is worth it. These guys are very strong. They're usually much stronger against buildings than they are against units, but they have a lot of HP. So this is called a Rotting Colossus. I call these the Wall Breachers. They will attack our base as well at night. So it's kind of cool to see it in the earlier game. But yeah, you don't want to mess with them too much. They don't do a ton of damage to any individual unit, but they are very tanky. So, but I think we can probably handle it. Let's wipe this out. And what we're going to do is ignore him because he's very strong and has a lot of HP. Let's take out the archers first. They do a lot of damage and they're easier to kill. And then we'll focus our attention on the Colossus. There we go. And if this starts to happen where one of your units is taking a lot of damage, just micromanage them. Move around so that they change their aggro. They'll start attacking something else. There we go. We can drop another heal and we should be able to drop him pretty easily. Now it is getting dark, so we have to get back pretty soon. I would probably recommend not doing this. Now he dropped some good items. We got an upgrade on our helmet. And we'll probably just leave everything else. So let's clear the thing that they spawned in. And then we need to head back to base. Now, there's a couple things you'll notice with items that you collect. This is something that your units can actually use. So if you click on your barracks, you'll see certain units require different types of items to create. So you need a bow and hide to make archers. You need a battle axe and fur to make the slayers. You need robes to make clerics, etc. You can craft these yourself. They're very expensive, but you can craft them yourself. So you can make a blacksmith and a tailor and some of these other ones to make some of these items. But like I said, you will naturally find them if you go and clear stuff on the map. And that's usually how I get my first couple upgrades, and then I'll make my own later. But if we were to build another barracks right now, we could create one archer, 2 slayers, because I think we have 2 axes. As soon as we get back, we'll drop those off. Yeah, 2. So we could do that. And then we need 3 items to upgrade. Yeah, plate armor. So these frontline troops, these spearmen, will actually turn into a knight, or you can build a knight from scratch. But if you hover your mouse over this upgrade button, you need 1 plate armor, 1 sword, and 1 shield. And the really good thing about this is I prefer to upgrade a unit rather than build them from scratch. So I would upgrade these guys because they already have XP. So when we upgrade to a knight, you'll have a knight that already has 1 unit rank plus some XP to the next level. So that's usually the better choice. We've got some things we can do here. We could take our next level of heal, and then we can take the second level of the XP bonus. So there we go. Let's get back to base so we can heal up and get ready for nighttime. We do have enough for another tower, so let's go ahead and build that. So again, try to get them at the 4 corners so that way they can pick up anything that attacks. And we made it back home. We have enough to build another barracks. Let's get that down. And again, you'll notice as I'm building, I'm trying to keep everything as compact as possible. 2 reasons. Number 1, it's easier to defend. And number 2, it's closer to the light. As I mentioned before, if you fight in the dark, you actually do get a debuff to all of your military units. So you don't really want to fight in the dark if you can avoid it. It's okay to have your towers out there because they will pull aggro from everything around. But generally, you want to keep all your important stuff further in if you can. And you'll notice the attacks we get on the second night are a bit stronger and different types of units. Here we can see our first archer attacking us, but our tower makes very quick work of them. Now what I recommend at this point is to build whatever units you can that are non-spears. So whatever equipment you salvaged. So in this case we can build 1 archer, 2 slayers, and 1 cleric. So let's queue some of these up. And as these units get built, make sure you add them to your hotkey. I'm just going to have them added to number 2, which is the hotkey for everybody. And then if you want, you can separate them out again. So the Slayer, they're these 3 unit types. The Archer, that's pretty self-explanatory. They stay in the back. They're a little bit weaker, but they are able to gang up on people faster. So for example, if you have 20 spearmen, only maybe the front line 7 or 8 are going to be able to attack a unit. And then anything beyond that, you need an archer if you want to target more damage on somebody. The Slayers are basically the same thing as a spearman, but they do more damage. And they have a little bit more health. No, they have the same health, but they do more damage. And they also have armor penetration. So they take down tough opponents quickly, but they have very low defense. So they're just as weak as a spearman, so you have to be careful with them. The clerics do attack, but mainly they're for healing. So they're like a mage essentially. So they shoot fireballs. And then when they're not attacking, they're healing your units. We already have a heal with our spell. So they're not really necessary, but it's nice to have. There, so we built as much as we could. We don't have anything else to build here because we would need to craft our own items, which is not a problem. I would probably rather get another archer. So if you want to get more archers, you can actually build your own. In here on the carpenter, you can build a bow. It costs 5 planks. So it's kind of expensive wood-wise, but usually wood is not that big of a problem. So I don't think it's too hard to do it. So let's queue that up. We'll build another archer. It is, yep, nighttime is done. We're not getting attacked anymore. We have a full army of 10 out of 10. Let's take a look at what we've got here. So our front line is looking pretty strong. The original 5 spearmen. We've got 2 slayers for armor piercing and more damage. We've got 1 archer, a second archer's being built right now, so we'll have that, and then a cleric. And then, of course, our main caster. Let's get our archer done, and then we'll start heading out. There we go. So that's what our army looks like. Yours might be a little different. Maybe you get a bunch of bows and you have all archers. Maybe you get a bunch of axes and you'll have more slayers, or robes to get more clerics, whatever. But either way, just get up to 10 out of 10, and then you can start roaming a little deeper towards the edge of the map and getting better items and more XP for upgrades. But that is going to wrap up phase 3, which is day, night 2. We are starting the last phase, phase 4. This is going to be day and night, 3 and 4 combined. You're kind of at the tail end at this point, mostly just clearing out the rest of the map and upgrading your settlement, maybe walling it in and things like that. But very important, keep your army busy, go out, collect as much stuff as you can. So we'll send them out, but before, we'll give them the move order, but before we unpause, let's talk about some building upgrades that we can make. So the tavern is really important. It provides 2 happiness to workers near the tavern, and if you look at the radius, it's actually bigger than the radius of our our buildable area. So literally everybody will have this bonus once we build it. It's going to give everybody 2 happiness that's nearby, and for every point of happiness, it boosts worker speed by 10%. So essentially, building this one building increases everybody's efficiency by 20%, even with our hero not there. So pretty crazy. It's good to get this as soon as you get your basics established and you have enough workers to take advantage of it. We have 16 right now, so getting 20% bonus to this is pretty nice. So we'll do that, and then we can work on maybe some other upgrades after that. So, but to be able to build this, we need to queue up a few stone and planks. This one we need 12 and 15. So we can just increase this to 12 and 15 so we don't have to think about it. And then after we build it, we'll just adjust this to whatever we're building next. So let's work on that. Let's get our army out there fighting stuff, and then we'll be good to go. Now on the map, you'll see these chests. If you have keys, you can open some of them. Like this one, we have a common key. Common treasure key, so we're able to open that one. And sometimes you get some decent stuff. This one actually had a ring. It's not better than what we have. Actually, it had 2 rings, so that's not a good find. But sometimes you get decent items from them. Usually the chests are not that great, though. All right, and let's pause here. We did build enough to get the tavern, so you can see here the tavern. We'll put it somewhere where it will reach everybody, which is almost everywhere in the base. So let's just throw it up right here. And you can see that radius will definitely hit everyone. Now, once that's done, we need to build something else. And I don't recommend leaving your minimums, like a generic. Usually set them so that you can build a specific building and then change it to something else. So in this case, there's a few different ways we can go. Blacksmith is good for longer games, and this one's probably too short. to take advantage of. And we need to find iron ore. So you can see right here, there's some iron ore here. We could mine it, but you can see it's really far and you can't build outside of your radius. So there's two ways to do it. You could expand by building lamps. So you would have to build lamps like this and extend all the way over here. And that's definitely a valid way to do it. Or you can build an outpost. So you can see the outpost needs planks, a lantern, sleeping bag, and food. So lanterns are built at the charcoal burner, and sleeping bags are built at the tailor. If you're ever not sure what a building makes, just hover your mouse over it. You can see right here, this one says it produces charcoal and lanterns. This one produces planks, bows, and wooden handles, etc., all the way down the line. You can see down here, we can see the sleeping bags are in here at the tailor. The tailor is not a bad one to make. You can make robes, which means you can spam more of those clerics for healing. You could also make a backpack. In this case, we got lucky and we got a backpack. But if you wanted a backpack, you can just make your own. But I think in this case, what we'll focus on is just getting walls set up. So let's back this off. We'll maybe do like 6 and 6 so we can have some in storage. But let's not use all of our wood. I'll show you how to make a nice enclosed space, and then we'll start building more towers to defend. The other route you could go, like I said, you could start upgrading some units, building like a tailor, a blacksmith, some of these other ones. But for this one, like I said, we only have 2 more days to go. Probably won't be able to take advantage of it anyway. So let's just build a solid defense, and then we'll go from there. So 2 ways to do it. You could do stone walls. You need 1 stone brick for every section of wall, and you can see it's a pretty big area that we need. So it's going to be from here to here. It's about 20 wall sections, and we need 4. Obviously we have 4 sections to do. So you'd have about 80. You need about 80 stone bricks. We'd probably need to put another quarry up to do it. So I think in the early game, just build a stone wall or the wood walls. These are really easy. They're cheap, but we do need some gates. We don't want to wall ourselves out. So let's build up a couple more planks, and then we'll talk about how to wall your whole settlement in. Right, this is kind of a big fight. There's a named character in here, so we do have to be careful. I don't mind fighting it, but we're not going to fight it on their turf. We'll fight it on our turf. So let's draw them out. Drop our heal. And again, keep an eye on your guys. As you get one that's getting kind of low, back him out so he doesn't get killed. You see, they'll start chasing him, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Yeah, see, they're still chasing him. Let's get another heal down so we don't lose anybody over here. Yeah, they're still chasing. There we go. And we just got another level because we killed one of the heavy guys. So at this point, you could take a couple different spells. It really depends on what you want. The most important thing is the heal. Anything after that, you can kind of figure out what you want to do. I would probably recommend this ice spell is really good because it freezes big units for quite a while. When you get to the bottom, it freezes them for 6 seconds. If you want to do high damage spell, this one's really good, the fireball. This one does a ton of damage. If you need AoE damage, Inferno's pretty good. I usually stick to the heal, the freeze, or the fireball. So I think in this case, let's keep life simple. We'll just do the fireball. And then in terms of perks, really you could do whatever you want. If you want to go for more damage, you could do these. So attack damage and attack speed, both of these increase your damage per second. This one increases your magic damage for casted spells. We don't really have a damage spell. We just took one at level 1, so that's not really going to help us that much right now. You could do some of these other ones, like these increase your worker speed when you're near them, but we're going to be out on campaign most of the time, so this doesn't help. We have a backline hero that should not be taking too much damage, so increasing HP is not all that helpful. This one's really good, so increase the amount of loot that you get. I would recommend that one. Again, collecting resources, these 3 both help collect resources. We're not really doing that too much because we're fighting most of the time, so it doesn't help. This one gives you more mana orbs, but you can see here we have 209. There's no way we can spend all of them, so that doesn't really help us that much. I would probably recommend sticking to either damage or the loot finder. So these 2 or this one. But it's up to you, your build. You can do it however you want. I'm going to save this up so we can get the loot one. Let's make sure all of our units are getting in there to get the heal. And we want to focus fire down on this Necromancer. He's very strong. Now, one quick tip here, it's pretty crowded in here and it's hard to see what's going on. It's also hard to click on individual units. So let's say, for example, if I need to get this guy out, right now I can click on him, but sometimes you get a weird angle where you can't. It'll keep clicking on other people. So what I would recommend doing is looking over here on the left, look for the person that has the lowest HP and just click on their unit card, and then you can micromanage them from there. So just something to keep in mind. There we go. We took out the Necromancer. That's a big target. And now we can take out the heavies. And if you want to start casting your fireball, you can. I usually save my mana just for the heal because it's so good. But that's how the fireball works. You just click on it, and whatever big unit it runs into, it's going to do the most damage. But like I said, we do more damage with our units. Oh my god, this guy's taking a lot of damage. So let's get our Slayer back because he's about to die. There you go. So that was a hell of a fight. There's a lot of units over here, but they dropped a lot of good loot. So let's start collecting it. 2 more skill books. We can get in here and take our loot perk. So there we go. Now, if you don't have the right key, it'll show up with this. You can sacrifice resources to open a chest. Some of these are, like this wood one is not worth it. That's not a good trade. This one's actually not a good trade. Not a bad trade. So 3 planks to open up basically 30 wood. Most of the time, these chests are not going to be that good, though, so I usually don't do that, but you can if you want, if you're curious. Kind of like gambling. We got another level up, so we'll put the point into our nuke, and then we need 5 points to get the next loot one, so that's going to be a while. Now, I will give you a warning, do not mess with these spiders unless you're ready for it. These guys are incredibly tough, and they do a lot of damage, so I will probably bypass them. These are high level too. This is a level 8 spider. Even the low level spiders are insane. They do so much damage. So just be careful with them. All right, let's work on defending our base. So typically what I'll do is I'll save up enough resources to build all the gates first. And I generally like to put them kind of far out. You could put your gate real close to your base, but then you kind of limit your expansion. So typically I'll put it a little further out. You could go right up to the edge if you want, but in this case, we'll leave a little bit of room here. So wooden gate, let's get 2 of these on both sides. We'll get one at the north and another one at the south. Like I said, I don't want to really chop all these trees down, so I'm actually going to put this one a little bit off center here. Well, we have to chop some trees down, unfortunately, here, but that's fine. Now, we want to connect them, so you go to your wooden palisade, and I'll usually go about right here and then go diagonal that, and then we, like I said, we have to chop some trees down. It feels bad. Yeah, it feels real bad, but it is what it is. Here we can kind of go around these 2 trees so that they don't get chopped. And we built this tower. This one of the reasons I like to build the towers out here like this, because then they end up just becoming part of your wall, which is nice. There. So you can see here we've got a nice kind of square, circle-ish looking thing. But that'll build pretty quickly, and then we're just going to have a giant wall pop up out of nowhere. So we'll keep expanding while we're waiting for that to build. All right, looking back at our base, and you can see it is complete. So we've got walls everywhere. We've got a few towers. You can see our coverage is not great, and that's partly because I didn't plan it very well with where we put these ballista. I should have put them closer to the edge. It's not that big of a deal because usually when you do this, you want to have multiple layers of defense. So what I would probably do at this point is start putting towers around the outside like this, all along the wall. Then if they breach the wall, we do have some of these interior ones that are protected as well. And then you just have multiple layers. So you never want to have just one failsafe. So if, for example, if we just put a one section of wall and then we line the walls with towers, if you lose any one piece of gate, tower or gate, they're just going to flood in and wipe out your towers. But if they have to go through walls to get to this tower, and then they have to get through another wall to get to this tower, and another wall to get to this tower, it slows them down considerably, and you have a much better chance of surviving. So something to keep in mind. Now for the final part, I'm not really going to split it up into 4 different sections, but there's basically 4 different ways you can approach this. You can build more defense. If you're more defensive focused, you could start working on more ballistas. You could switch it over to building towers. Now, the difference between the ballista and the tower is the ballista has more range and less damage, and it's a single attack. It hits a single unit. The towers, they shoot rocks. They have a smaller range. They do more damage, but it also does splash damage. So in general, what I recommend doing for your bases like this is to build a lot of ballista around the outskirts, right along the wall. And then you want to build your towers a little further back, but in range of the walls, so that when melee units clump up and try and attack the walls, they get hit by all the splash damage. So that's what I would generally do. You want to have your maximum range as close to the edge of the wall as you can, because they will attack with range units, and you want to have as much chance of wiping them out as you can. So just kind of dot these around. Now you cannot build these directly next to each other, so you do have to space them out by one tile. But generally, I would probably maybe put one at each gate, like that, one by one, until you have every gate covered. Then put a second one at each gate. Then maybe cover some of the gaps in between the gates. So, like at these corners. And then eventually you'll have 10, 15 towers, and there's literally nothing that's going to get in at that point. And then if you feel like you want to use some of your stone, you can start putting some of these stone towers there. So that's one way to do it. You could also go offensive, which would mean to build another barracks. So you'd want to save up some stone bricks, probably expand your workers, and then build more farms, because every time you build a unit, they do consume food. You can see spears consume 5 food per 8 hours. Archers 6 per 8 hours. The higher tier units you get, the more food they consume. You can see these knights consume 8 food per hour. Yeah, so a third barracks, build more farms, and get a couple more workers, and you can go that route. And then you could really do some damage to these outer camps and stuff. You could also work on expanding your economy without expanding your base. So there's a way to expand your economy here. You can build a smelter so you can get more metal items, and then you can get a workshop which allows you to craft upgrades for your buildings. Every time you click on a building, you'll see this pop up down here in the bottom left. So for a farm, you could increase worker speed by 40% if you build one wooden handle and one tool part. And it even tells you where these items are made. So the carpenter makes wooden handles and the blacksmith makes iron tool parts. Now to make iron tools, we have to obviously make iron, which means you need a smelter. We did pick up 2 pieces of iron bars while we were out on campaign, and we have 80 pieces of iron ore. When you build a smelter, you can convert iron ore into iron bars. You convert at 20 to 1. So 20 iron ore becomes 1 iron bar. So if we have 80, that means we can make 4 iron bars, and we have 2 in storage. So that means we can make 6. So if that's the case, we could do 6 of these hoe upgrades. There's other upgrades you could do out here, like if you wanted to increase your wood production, it's 2 iron parts and 1 wooden handle. So every building has its own upgrades. If you click on it, you can kind of see what they do. So that's one way you could upgrade your economy, just by upgrading the buildings, which obviously you need to get the infrastructure for. And then the final way that I would recommend considering is expanding your actual base. And I kind of touched on it earlier, but you could build lamps to expand the coverage. If you build a lamp, they do consume charcoal, and you can see up here we have charcoal to start with. Every lamp we build will consume 1 charcoal. Let's see, 1 charcoal per hour at night. And if you use all your charcoal, the lamps go dark, and then you're just going to get swarmed. So make sure you build a charcoal burner. So this one, and then what I would recommend doing is clicking on your charcoal and then creating a minimum. Usually 10 is okay, but I would probably do it higher, maybe go to 20. And the reason you want to have a little bit more here is because if you start building planks or using wood to repair your buildings, sometimes you won't have enough wood to convert into charcoal. And so then your stuff's just going to go dark in the middle of a fight. So get a little bit of reserve here just in case you need to use your wood for other things like building planks or repairing buildings. So that's one way. The other way I mentioned to expand is to build an outpost. So to build the outpost, you need a carpenter to build planks, a charcoal burner for the lantern, and a tailor for the sleeping bag. And this one, if you want to build, like let's say for example, if I wanted to build a quarry and I wanted to extract some of this ore, I can't do it right here because the area is not lit. So like I mentioned, you have to build lamps to get up there. So we would have to build one right here. Once that's done, we could build one at the extreme edge. There's 2, and then 3 right here. So we would need 3 lamps to get up there. Very expensive to do. if it's more than say one lamp away, I would recommend just going with the outpost. And the outpost you can build anywhere on the map as long as you have the items to do that. And that basically becomes a drop-off center and a spot that will build workers for you, so you can build workers at your outpost. It also heals, so you could build a little outpost out next to an enemy base and just use that to attack. So that's another way to do it. But yeah, the outpost is a pretty good way to expand. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm going to leave off here with the instruction. Moving forward, I'm just going to pause when I come across something for leaving tips. So if there's anything interesting that happens, or if there's some good tips that I can leave you with, we'll pause for that. Otherwise, we're going to speed through, get to the end of day 4, or sorry, the end of night 4, and then we'll complete the scenario and finish the guide. So in terms of what direction I'm going to take this one in, I probably let's do the economic one because I feel like that is one of the more efficient ones. We already have the buildings, and also some of these buildings that we need for the economic ones we can use to upgrade our troops as well. So it kind of helps with that. But let's make sure we can build these buildings proper. So we need a blacksmith, a smelter, and a workshop. Let's go with the smelter first. So we need 14 stone bricks. Let's get that. And as soon as that's done, we'll come back and build it. And like I said, we don't want to waste any time. Let's continue our rampage out here. Now, one thing that ends up happening is if you're out on campaign for a long time, you're going to get clogged up. So start dropping these items and drop things that you will not need. So for example, bones. Bones are used to create orbs. You can see we have 341 orbs. There's no chance we're going to use all 341. Zero chance. So we don't need bones. Let's drop that. We probably don't need too many more of these hides and furs. So if we need more space, we can drop those as well. But we do want to at least pick up some of these weapons. So like the bow, if we ever need to replace an archer, we can build that. We also want to pick up plate armor, anything that we can use to upgrade these guys. We want to get these guys upgraded to knights as soon as they can. So we need a sword and a shield to upgrade one. And we have another plate armor, so when we turn that in, we'll have actually 2. So we need 2 swords and 2 shields, and we'll be able to upgrade 2 knights. Let's keep our rampage going. And we have enough to build our smelter. Let's get that down. And then the next one we want to build is a workshop. So 12 and 12. Let's increase that, decrease that. And as soon as we hit 12 and 12, we'll stop producing, and then we'll work on building that. All right, starting to get dark. Let's head back. So we want to get there before we get raided. Although it's not that big of a deal because we do have some towers. We brought back all those resources. You can see we have an abundance. So if we wanted to, you could make more carpenters, or you could just upgrade the ones that you have. Like I said, we'll probably go that route. So if we upgrade this carpenter, we need wooden handle parts and iron tool parts. All right, and we have enough for a workshop. Let's build that. And then also we've got our smelter here. So at the smelter, you can make iron bars, silver bars, or gunpowder. So gunpowder is used for crafting gunpowder units, obviously, like the gunmen here. But at the blacksmith, you can create guns, and you need gunpowder for that. Iron bar is pretty self-explanatory, and that's probably the one we need to use our iron ore for most. So let's just queue up a bunch of that. The other way, if you want to just have that automatically done, it's the same thing as we were doing with these up here, but it's over here on the sidebar. So you would craft a minimum of whatever you want to maintain, and then they'll just craft that. Or in this case, we could just spam this, and we'll never have that much iron ore anyways, and we'll just make as many metal parts as we can. And the last thing we need is a blacksmith. So 10 and 12. So we'll reduce this to 10, keep that at 12, and then we'll be good to go. Here we go, we're getting attacked, so we're just going to keep an eye. If you zoom out, you can kind of see them moving through the darkness and then get a jump start on them. There we go. We're just going to defend our base here as best we can while we're saving up resources. And make sure, don't forget to repair. And because we have so much wood, I'm going to increase the minimum for our planks by quite a bit. Let's just get as many of those as we can. Here we go. We got a heavy coming in. And if they breach your walls, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. Just rebuild it. Yeah, the wooden walls are more... I would say they're less about keeping enemies out and more about just buying you a little bit of time to get there. The stone walls are definitely good at keeping people out. So if, like I said, if you want to go the defensive route, you could just upgrade to the stone. All right, we have enough to build our blacksmith. Let's put that down. Another thing, if we wanted to upgrade our farms, we could get fertilizer, and to do that, we need a stable. So let's work on a stable next then. So 10, yep, we have enough for that. And we still haven't found swords or shields. So if we come to our blacksmith, we could craft them. It's going to use up 5 iron bars. So if we wanted to save it for economy instead, we could ration the iron, or we could use it on upgrades. Like I said, for this one, you could definitely do this with just spearmen. You don't need knights. It's not that hard. But if you want to see what they look like, you can craft it. I'm going to save the iron so that we can craft a bunch of upgrades. So what I want to do, what are we lacking? I would say the slowest one right now is probably going to be our carpenter and our stonemason. So let's get iron tool parts and wooden handles so we can upgrade both of these. So iron tool parts are crafted at the blacksmith down here in the bottom right. It's 2 iron bars for every 1 tool part. So let's get 3 of those. And then as soon as that's ready, we can do that. We also need some wooden handles. So let's get a couple of those. Here we go. So click on the building and you can see we have the requisite material. So if we click on it, it'll start to upgrade very quickly. And then you'll see this increases the speed by 50%. So you'll see how quickly these things start to craft. Actually, let me increase this. It's way faster now. And like I said, you don't have to expand your base to do this. You can do it all in here. The other way to have more to craft more stone bricks is just to spam stonemasons. You just have a bunch of these things everywhere. But like I said, to do that, you need to expand your base, and then you have a bigger area to defend. So an upgraded base can be just as good as a sprawling base, but it's easier to defend. So just something to consider. And we did finish another iron tool part, so we can upgrade this. There we go. And now you can see he's crafting really fast. So why don't we do a mix? We'll upgrade our economy, but we'll also upgrade our defenses here. So I'm going to put maybe some towers over here on the edge. And then anytime you build a tower, try and enclose it in walls so that if they break in from another side, let's say they break our gate down, if they want to get to this tower, they can't just immediately start attacking it. They have to break through this wall as well. So usually it's best practice to build towers and then enclose them in walls. And the attacks are done for the night. Let's go back out, and I want to show you one more thing offensive-wise. Hopefully we run into it. Also, we'll build a stable so that we can get fertilizer and we can upgrade our farms. We don't really need it, but it's something that we could have done. If we want to expand our army without having to add more workers, you could easily do that, because this adds 40% speed to your farming. It's pretty good. Okay, so we have a ton of extra food. I'm just going to upgrade these just for fun. We'll see how high our food production goes. So right now we're plus 38, and it's pretty stable. Probably going to go to quite a bit more than that. Now we could increase our stone production, which we should probably do. Let's get another iron tool parts, and then we'll push that into upgrading our quarry here. So that'll give us 40%. Now, I warned you about spiders. Let me show you why. I might be able to clear these guys easily, but they're terrifying, man. I've lost so many units to it. Yeah, you can see this guy's already almost dead. We probably need to back him out. They might still kill him. Alright, we should be good. I think we killed enough of them. Yeah, don't mess with the spiders until you're ready. They are nasty. Alright, we are getting our warning. The final evasion's happening in 8 minutes. We got plenty of time before nighttime anyways. They don't just spawn because of the warning. They spawn at night, so don't worry about it. Just keep pushing. Take our final point into the loot and final point into our nuke. So those should be helping us quite a bit. And then we want to upgrade our pickaxe here, and that should increase our stone production. So we'll just keep putting towers around. Now, I wanted to show you where the portal, you see right here it says destroy all portals. There's 3 portals on each map. You'll know because the woods will turn red. Hopefully we can see one.
Yes.
Right, unfortunately it's getting too dark. I'm gonna have to go back. I'll post I'll probably just get a screenshot from one of my other campaigns to show it off. Really weird that we didn't run into it. So we went at exactly the spots that didn't have it. But usually it's towards the edge of the map, and you'll see a bunch of red trees and then some really big demons running around in there. You don't want to mess in there. By the time you're ready to mess around in there, you won't need to watch a video like this. So just for now, just leave it alone. They are very strong. But we need to get back so we can help defend. Also, I'm going to create a couple swords here because I noticed we picked up some shields along the way, so we should be good with that, but we don't have what we need to upgrade the other, we don't have any swords, so we'll craft our own. So I'll show you how that upgrade works as soon as the sword's done crafting. Alright, so sword's done. If we click on our unit here, or if we click on our building, you can see everything qualifies. We just need more military limit. But I recommend finding the unit that has the most XP. In this case, this guy's a gold star. He's the elite level. If we click on this, it'll just immediately upgrade him. Now, he does start with the same HP that he had when you upgraded, so you do have to heal him up to full health. So 630 up to 1680. It is a massive difference between these two units. You can see this guy does 55 damage, has armor, whereas this guy does 36 damage, no armor, and only 630 health. So pretty big difference. Actually, we can get 2 more swords, and then we'll upgrade 2 more of these guys. And then while we're waiting, we could also upgrade our defenses. Let's get a few towers around. Oh, we got another sword upgrade. Let's find another gold one. Here we go. So he's going to get the upgrade. Also, let's drop a heal for him. We got our final upgrade for another one of our frontliners. So you can see our army is pretty darn strong. We didn't even expand that far. We could have gone twice the size of the military cap. But these guys are super strong, and they're even better because we have our healing to level 3. It's really hard to knock these guys out. Here we go. We got a heavy. Take him out real quick. Another thing, if you want to protect your walls, so these gates they have a decent amount of health, especially versus the actual wall segments. These have only 400 health. These gates have 1250. You can upgrade them for very cheap. It's only planks. It costs 4 planks to upgrade each one. And most buildings have that as well. So if you have towers that are kind of exposed and they're taking a lot of damage, I recommend doing this hardwood plank panel upgrade. In this case, probably just the wall segments. I don't think... the gates need it, but probably not the towers. I don't foresee anybody getting any damage on these, but you could if you wanted to. All right, there we go. The demons have spawned, and they are... Yeah, see here, there it is. So there's the redwood. That's what it looks like. You start to see these bright red, and then the floor turns into a different kind of like reddish black. So stay away from those if you want to survive. Alright, here come the demons. Let's get out there and meet them head on. So they're most likely going to break our walls. We'll just let it happen. It's not a big deal. Yeah, they will generally try to go for your buildings first before they go for anything else. So it's... Yeah, let's upgrade this guy, see if we can get him some health back. Now, this is kind of an interesting trick. If you have a building that's close to dying and you put the hardwood panels on, it actually increases their health back to full. I don't know if that's a bug or not, but you see, as soon as this thing finishes, it went back to full health. So maybe don't upgrade certain things until the very last second. Like these gates, I'll typically let them get down to half if they're getting beat on pretty badly, and then I'll upgrade them. That way they can get extra health. It's basically like a free repair. So that's a little trick you can use. But... yeah, this one's over. We're going to win here. They have 1 demon left, and he's dead. So there you go. There we go. We didn't lose any warriors, no workers, no heroes. We survived 4 nights, destroyed a lot of buildings, and quite a few enemies. So pretty good for this small of a map, and only the 4 nights. But hopefully that was helpful. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, if there's anything that's confusing, or if you'd like me to go into a little bit more depth into certain areas. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Paradox Arc for sponsoring the video, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Take care.